It's about that time, folks. Yes, we are in the new year 2022. However, 2021 has not left me. It's deep in my mind, and I'm going to present you the top films of last year. I am going to give you a little cherry on top. It's my rules, my channel. Usually the way it goes is that I hit you with a top 10 best of. This time I thought that there were 10 additional films that I truly had to highlight. So instead of 10 films, I'm going to give you my top 20 films of 2021. So without further ado, thank you for tuning in to Mann Cinema Reviews. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, press like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, notifying you of a new review posted to this channel. Thank you very much for choosing Mann Cinema Reviews. I do want to highlight some films that didn't quite crack the top 20, and yes, you will be surprised to hear some of them, being The Ricardos, King Richard, Belfast, a small indie that I have very much love for, Blue Bayou. Again, these were films that I did really like and enjoy, and the way I went about curating this fascinating list of mine is going about collecting all of the 4.5 to 5-star reviews, and that is the basis of this list. Let's go with the top 20 list by yours truly, MCR host Peter Mann II. What's up, y'all? At number 20 is Paul Verhoeven's Benedetta. Now, you know that the Catholic in me, however slightly lapsed Catholic, just couldn't sing its praises. I thought that this was such a unique film by Paul Verhoeven at such a seasoned stage of his career. I'd be remiss to not include it on my top films of the year of 2021. And again, it's a film that is brazen and bold, and they just don't make them like they used to. So I do implore you, if you have not yet seen this crazy French film, Benedetta, I do implore you to go search it out. Number 19 is Steven Soderbergh's latest crime caper, No Sudden Move. There is such a ensemble cast. When HBO Max exclusively hit this on the streaming services, I was surprised to find out that it was not available in theaters. We were kind of knee deep in a pandemic, so I get why Steven Soderbergh was just crazy about releasing it to his fans, and I'm glad that it found a home at HBO Max. I just really thought it could have used that push at theaters for those that want to seek it out. The number 18 spot is Ridley Scott's The Last Duel. It is just sweeping, it's captivating, it's brutal to watch in both the battle scenes and the sexual assault that does occur. But with this cast and just this artful direction by Ridley Scott, it really gets him back to his Gladiator days. Going to number 17, this little indie psychological horror slash thriller, The Night House, was really just a sleeper hit of this year. So much so that I think 9 times out of 10 when I mention this film, no one knows what I'm talking about, just because no one saw it. It's definitely a hard film to kind of market. It is a ghost story masked in a story about depression, anxiety, mental health. It just has these broad themes in it that is just so encased so delicately with such precision filmmaking, and it was such a little film that I wish more people saw. Number 16, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This was Marvel Cinematic's flex at fighting choreography, the sweeping and great representation of Asian Americans as superheroes. It was just great all around. It was a fantastic cast. It was very great to watch, and it is currently available on Disney Plus. If you have not seen it, what are you doing? Go ahead, stop this video and go out and watch Shang-Chi. It was a great film and one of my favorites, personal favorites of mine of the last year. Number 15, Judas and the Black Messiah. I thought this was great. Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, just phenomenal. Jesse Plemons. It was such a great film, monumental story to tell, long overdue, but it is very captivating. If you've not seen this, this was one of my favorite films. It is number 15 on my list, Judas and the Black Messiah. Number 14, West Side Story. Now, who can't deliver such a sweeping film but Steven Spielberg? And it's one that I feel in many ways just improves on its source material, and what film can say that it does so? It's very rare, and I think that it was just a great film. Number 13 comes Dune, Denis Villeneuve. Just fantastic visionary director, was perfect to capture this once thought of unfilmable space odyssey epic, and what an ensemble cast. This past year was just filled with ensemble casts, and this was such a sweeping sci-fi hit. It is garnering a second part. Job well done, both it being a success on HBO Max and at the box office. Great to see it have a follow-up to the second part of the story. Timothée Chalamet, just great work. Going on to the next film, number 12, Nomadland. Frances McDormand was just such a great performer. Chloe Zhao. Even though you didn't hit with Eternals, this film was just a labor of love. Nomadland, it's just great filmmaking. An actor's clinic, a director's clinic is just very, very good work on screen. And as slow as the film is, it just captures your heart. It's definitely an emotional ride, and Nomadland lands number 12 on my list. Now we're almost getting to the top 10, and again, this was hard to kind of chalk up. However, number 11, A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, I did have it at number 10. I did a little switcheroo because I just feel like I had to include this next film that follows A Quiet Place Part 2 on my top 20 list. But let me go about telling you why I liked the second part of A Quiet Place. It just follows the trajectory. It's basically following up where it left off in the first film. And it just is gripping. It's emotionally involved. It's a sci-fi thriller that you haven't quite seen. And I just think that John Krasinski and company just do well. I hope he does 3, 4 more spin-offs, whatever, TV shows. I'm here for it. A Quiet Place, it's just, I've been a stand for. As soon as I saw the first film, I knew there was going to be a follow-up, and I can't wait to see what's next in its next chapter. I thought this was a great film. Now going into my top 10. In number 10 is Licorice Pizza. I just thought that Paul Thomas Anderson just delivers on the goods. I know it's receiving backlash. I see its blemishes. I see its faults. I think I miscategorized the story being about 2 teens. No, it's about a teenager and a 25-year-old falling in love. And I know that, the male's the underage and the female's the older. And if I had the roles switch around, I definitely probably would have felt its concern. I just feel like it is a important film in PTA's filmography. I do see its troubling thematic elements, its racial undertones with the treatment of Asian Americans being aloof and idiotic. So I do fault that about the film, but getting back to why I liked it, it was an ode to Southern California. I'm a West Coast boy, So I just feel like I feel like this is such a love letter to California, the West Coast, during the 1970s. You had real people. John Peters, Bradley Cooper plays a hairstylist slash film producer. He's erratic. He is dating at the time Barbra Streisand. He was just a colorful character. I don't know if the real John Peters was like that. I know that Kevin Smith told a story about his running with John Peters when he was writing a Superman film, how he wanted a big giant spider with mechanical legs. Fun fact, John Peters includes that in the film The Wild Wild West, which he produced. You could see his erratic behavior in this, and Bradley Cooper plays it well. Just seeing these real life characters. Sean Penn plays an actor. I don't believe they use his real name. He was a basis of an actor. Safdie, don't recall his first name, plays a politician, a real life politician who hid his sexuality, his sexual orientation. Years later, he would come out as gay. But you get to see his character and the way he went about his day-to-day. It was just such a great odyssey to see this, boy becoming a man. And again, we don't see any sexuality or anything like that between the two characters, and that would definitely be problematic. But I do want to highlight its faults. I still felt like Licorice Pizza is a unique experience, and that's why it's number 10 on my list. Number 9, The Green Knight. I just felt like this was a medieval epic that I have not quite seen. I think that the director of this film, with very little that he had as far as budget concerns, he really opens it and broadens the scope of the filmmaking and storytelling elements of this film. I thought that The Green Knight was just a great spellbinding film. It's not as exciting or sweeping that, the Lord of the Rings may be. I'm just not a part of that fan base. I did like what the director was doing of The Green Knight, and it's one, again, I'm not a big fantasy guy, so it's just really rare that I would go out on a limb to saying how much I like a film of its genre. But I really did. Not since Pan's Labyrinth did I really think that a director captured the thematic elements with such just riveting and captivating, really powerful filmmaking. And I think The Green Knight does that and does it well. Number 8, Pig. I think that this is a year of Nicolas Cage coming back. It's a renaissance of sorts. I know he's got a film that's very meta coming out this year, and I feel like Nicolas Cage is coming back in a real way. He definitely plants the seeds in this little indie called Pig, and if you've not seen it, I definitely want you to check it out. It is streaming currently on Hulu, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Number 7 is Val. It's a documentary, and I'm glad I'm including at least one documentary, and I want to see more. I think this year is the year that I really explore documentaries. This was about Val Kilmer. I just like how he kept video footage of his career. He was kind of chronicling and journaling his career, and it's great to have his son speak for him, knowing that he had throat cancer, so he really can't vocalize himself. So it was great to have his son narrate the film. And kudos to Val Kilmer that this was a love letter for Val, and I was glad he was able to tell it and that he is still with us. So this was a film that would flex his filmography. I definitely want you to go check it out and go explore more films of Val Kilmer's, as I definitely will this year. Number 6, Titan. Titan was a crazy science fiction French film, borders on horror, and I definitely want you to check this out if you've not seen it or heard of it. Definitely venture out. For those that have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a tour de force. It definitely keeps your attention, It's a very unique experience watching it, and it's definitely something that I have not quite seen before. And by the conclusion of the film, you'll know why. T-Tam was just one bonkers and crazy film experience that I had last year. Going into my top 5 films, here we go. This is me throwing down the gauntlet. At number 5 is The Card Counter. Paul Schrader's definitely dark noir thriller. It's a definite slow burn. It stars Oscar Isaac in a film that I don't think that Oscar Isaac is going to be recognized for. I hope he is, but if he doesn't, this is me just telling you how great I think you are, Oscar Isaac, and I hope you get recognized come award season. Ty Sheridan, Willem Dafoe. This was also a big year for Willem Dafoe with The French Dispatch and Spider-Man No Way Home. Willem Dafoe really just delivers such a complex and crazy character in this. This was definitely something that reminded me of yesteryear Paul Schrader, maybe a spiritual sequel to Taxi Driver. I feel that this was a great film, The Card Counter. If you have not seen it, go see it, go check it out. Definitely one of my favorite films of the year. Number 4, The Power of the Dog. This is Jane Campion's Netflix film, so you have no excuse not watching this. I know most of you, if not all of you, are subscribed to Netflix. What are you doing? I know that it may be a slow burn of a film, but I definitely think that you should go and revisit it if you have not seen it. This is definitely one of Jane Campion's strongest films to date. Benedict Cumberbatch steals the show, but I'm just glad Kirsten Dunst is here to stay. It's a renaissance of hers as well. Jesse Plemons, Cody Smith-McPhee, just great all around. The cast is phenomenal, and I really think that the third act delivers. If you stay with it, if you stick with it and get its more contextual, thematic elements, you'll know why this is such a powerful film. Going into my top 3 films. Number 3, Disney Pixar's Luca just stole it for me. I think that it's great storytelling. It's a coming of age story. It's just one of a kind. It's not a full-on animated musical. I really don't care for that. I really care for its story. I got wrapped up in it, just the sentimentality, the emotionality. I damn near cried at the end of this film. This film really broke my heart. So when I get emotional over a film, I really take it into consideration that really being just a moving cinematic experience. And that's what Luca was for me. Definitely was one of my favorite films. Number 2, now, it sat at number 1 for so long. I know this is gonna be crazy. I did a little switcheroo last minute, but number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. Whoa. I know you're thinking that it was supposed to be at the number 1 spot. Technically, I still feel that it is, but something happened just late in the game, and I'll tell you why with the next film that holds the number 1 spot for me. But again, this was a phenomenal experience at the movies as well. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, if I'm not ruining everything, it's been out for a while, guys. If you haven't seen it, that's your fault. I'm just glad. It's just what dreams are made of. This film was phenomenal. I really want to see it again, but it is number 2 on the list when it was number 1 for the longest. Number 1, late in the game. Here it is, Swan Song. This just late in the game. I wasn't even trying to check it for it. Initially, I was trying to watch The Tragedy of Macbeth, and I have done so. That's also another film that I want to, give a little shout out, and you'll see my review coming up shortly. But Swan Song is number 1, and this was such a great film. I implore you to check this out. Mahershala Ali gives the performance of his career. Broke my heart. I have never cried in the film as much as I have in this film. It just got me by the heartstrings and just ripped it, completely obliterated me. I just, as a father, I just really got wrapped up in its thematic elements. If I want a good cry, I know where to go, and that is Apple TV to watch Swan Song. This film was phenomenal. I just thought, being a sci-fi drama, does really cool things with a limited budget, and I love that. Just the cinephile in me, if you can do so, if a filmmaker can do that on that scope, on that level, kudos. I'm really looking forward to Benjamin Cleary as a filmmaker, because you really hit it out of the park in your debut, and I just want to sing your praises. Swan Song is my #1 film of the year. Thank you for checking out my top 20 films. This was fun, guys, and I can't wait to do it again next year. I got The Tragedy of Macbeth. I got a couple more movie reviews, and yes, I got my worst of. It's going to be classified as the worst of, but it's more like the disappointments of 2021. And that's what I got coming up on Mann Cinema Reviews. We'll see you on the next one.